They told him it was just old age, slow blood flow, weaker performance. That's normal after 60, the doctor said with a shrug. But 3 months later, he landed in the ER with what looked like a heart attack. Turns out it wasn't his heart. It was blocked blood vessels down there. No one told him that poor circulation doesn't just affect your legs and chest. It can silently destroy your intimacy, your confidence, and your connection with the person you love. Aging is not the problem. The real problem is what no one's talking about and how simple changes can turn it around. Most people think baking soda is just for cleaning or baking. But when you use it like this, the way I'm about to show you, it has a powerful effect on blood flow, artery flexibility, and nitric oxide levels. That's right. Something sitting in your kitchen right now might be the missing piece to feeling younger, more alive, and reconnected in the bedroom. And don't worry, John Baum, I'm not about to throw medical jargon at you. I'll walk you through exactly how it works, why it's effective, and how to use it safely. But fair warning, doing it the wrong way could backfire, especially at our age. So stay with me, because in just a minute, I'm going to share the method that's been quietly changing the lives of men over 60 across the country. Before we go any further, if this kind of practical, life-changing health advice matters to you, I encourage you to hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell. That way, you'll never miss another tip designed to help you feel stronger, more connected, and in control of your health. And if you're finding this helpful so far, just type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0. Your feedback helps me make this even more useful for you. Let's start with the truth that most men over 60 never hear from their doctor, and it's costing them more than they realize. You see, the quiet decline in blood flow that begins in your 50s doesn't just affect your energy. It slowly chips away at your strength, your mood, and your ability to feel close to the person you love. It starts small, colder hands and feet, feeling winded quicker, maybe just not in the mood as often. But over time, it builds, and if you ignore it, it can turn into something far more serious. Number 1, the common problem in men over 60, poor blood circulation. I remember a man named Walter, 68 years old, retired, married for over 40 years. He came into my office not for a heart issue, not even for intimacy concerns. He just said, "Doc, I don't feel like myself anymore." His hands were cold even in summer. He was falling asleep earlier every evening, and though he didn't say it directly at first, I could sense he was quietly carrying something heavier, a feeling of loss he couldn't explain. When we talked more, he admitted intimacy had become rare, awkward, and sometimes even painful, not physically, but emotionally. He felt like he was slowly disappearing from the man he used to be. What Walter was going through is far more common than most people realize. In fact, it's one of the most widespread and overlooked issues facing men over 60. And it all starts with blood flow. As we age, the inner walls of our blood vessels begin to stiffen. The arteries become less flexible. The blood doesn't move as freely, and the smaller vessels, the ones responsible for keeping us warm, energized, and responsive, start to close down like old pipes. It doesn't happen overnight. It creeps in slowly, stealing vitality little by little until we start calling it just aging. But it's not just aging. It's poor circulation, and it doesn't only affect your physical health. It affects how you feel as a man, as a husband, as a human being. It can leave you frustrated, disconnected, and wondering if the best years are behind you. I've seen men doubt themselves, question their worth, even avoid affection. Not because they don't care, but because their body isn't responding the way it used to. And no one ever told them why. The good news is, this decline isn't inevitable. There are ways to support circulation, restore flexibility to your blood vessels, and reignite that spark you thought was gone for good. And believe it or not, one of the simplest tools I've ever recommended is probably sitting in your kitchen cabinet right now. Yes, I'm talking about baking soda, but not in the way you've seen on the back of a box. Let me show you how this humble household item, when used the right way, can begin to reverse the very process that's been holding you back, and why the next few minutes may just change the way you think about your body forever. If you're still here and this message is resonating with you, go ahead and type the number 1 in the comments. It lets me know you're listening, you care about your health, and you're ready to take that next step. Now let's move forward to the second key insight. Number 2, the serious consequences of poor circulation. I'll never forget the moment Charles broke down in my office. He was 72, proud, always well put together. The kind of man who took care of everyone else, his family, his neighbors, even the stray cat that wandered into his yard. But that day he looked smaller somehow, not physically, emotionally. He leaned forward, lowered his voice and said, "Doc, I don't feel like a man anymore." His blood work looked fine, his heart sounded steady. But I knew what was going on. His body wasn't delivering blood where it mattered most, not just to his hands and feet, but to the places tied to his confidence, his sense of intimacy, and his connection with his wife. Poor circulation wasn't just affecting his health, it was quietly unraveling his identity. You see, when your blood flow slows down, it's like the lights in your house start dimming, room by room. First, it's your energy, then it's your sleep. Then it's your ability to respond when intimacy calls. It's not just physical, it gets into your head. You start to doubt yourself. You feel distant from your partner, even when they're lying right beside you. That slow breakdown isn't something you can fix with a pill or wish away with time. It takes understanding what's actually going wrong inside. Medically, it comes down to your endothelial function. That's the lining of your blood vessels. When it's damaged, you lose nitric oxide production. Without nitric oxide, your vessels can't expand, your blood can't flow freely. And guess which suffer first? The smallest vessels, the ones involved in arousal, memory, warmth, and vitality. What starts as mild fatigue or a softer response in the bedroom can turn into something much more serious, an early sign of vascular disease, increased risk of stroke, even erectile dysfunction that stops responding to medication. And unfortunately, most men don't realize any of this until it's already affecting their lives in ways they never saw coming. But here's what gives me hope every day. Your body wants to heal. Blood vessels can regain flexibility. Nitric oxide levels can be naturally restored. And you don't need to rely on synthetic pills with side effects that scare you more than the symptoms. In fact, there's a powerful yet simple way to begin repairing this system with something you've probably used your entire life, but never like this. And when I started sharing this approach with my older patients, many of them came back saying, "I didn't think I'd ever feel this way again." So now let's look at how baking soda, used properly, can support this healing process from the inside out, and why it's far more than just a home remedy. Number 3, baking soda, a simple, overlooked solution. I remember when Harold, a soft-spoken 67-year-old retired math teacher, came to me after trying everything. Supplements, prescription pills, even embarrassing devices he ordered off late-night television. "Nothing sticks," he said, shaking his head. "I feel like I'm chasing shadows." He was tired, not just in his body, but in his spirit. Then I asked him a question that caught him off guard. "Do you have baking soda in your kitchen?" He looked confused. "You mean for cookies?" I smiled. "Yes, but not just for cookies. Most people think of baking soda as something you put in the fridge or sprinkle in pancake batter, but few realize what it can do inside the human body, especially for men dealing with poor circulation and its silent effects on their energy, confidence, and connection. Baking soda, or sodium bicarbonate, isn't some miracle powder. It's a simple compound that, when used correctly, can support better blood flow and oxygen delivery in a way that genuinely matters as we age. Here's what makes it powerful. As we get older, our bodies tend to become more acidic due to diet, stress, and declining kidney function. That acid buildup can constrict blood vessels and reduce the availability of oxygen. Two things you definitely don't want if you're already struggling with circulation. A small amount of baking soda and water, taken at the right time, helps neutralize this excess acidity. It gently balances the body's pH, which allows blood to move more freely. More freedom in your circulation often means more strength, more warmth, and more responsiveness, even in places you thought were beyond help. I've seen men like Harold start using it under guidance and notice small but meaningful changes. More energy in the morning, less stiffness, a spark of interest returning where there had been silence. Of course, it's not a cure-all, and it doesn't replace healthy habits, But for many, it's been the beginning of a very real turnaround. The body, once supported properly, begins to respond, and in some cases, more than they thought possible. But I must be honest, what works gently when done right can be harmful when rushed, guessed at, or misused. That's where things get tricky and potentially dangerous. So before you reach for the box and start mixing, there's something very important you need to know. Let me walk you through exactly how to use baking soda safely and what to avoid so you don't accidentally make things worse while trying to get better. Number 4, the danger of using it the wrong way. I'll be honest with you, I've seen both sides of baking soda. I've seen it help men reclaim their vitality and confidence, and I've also seen it backfire when used carelessly. One patient, Dennis, was 70 years old, active, still golfing twice a week. He saw something online about baking soda improving blood flow and thought, why not? So he started taking a teaspoon every morning and another at night, thinking more would mean faster results. Within a week, he was bloated, his blood pressure spiked, and he ended up in the ER with heart palpitations and confusion. His kidneys, already weakened by years of silent stress, couldn't handle the overload. You see, baking soda isn't dangerous by itself, but it becomes risky when people treat it like a quick fix without understanding how it works. It's not like taking a vitamin. It's a powerful compound that affects your body's internal chemistry, especially your pH levels, your fluid balance, and your sodium load. And for older adults, especially those on blood pressure medication or with any kidney sensitivity, that balance is fragile. The body works like a finely tuned instrument at this age. Too much sodium, even from something natural like baking soda, can throw off your heart rhythm, cause swelling, or push your blood pressure into dangerous territory. I've had to explain this to more than one patient who meant well, who just wanted to feel alive again but didn't realize the cost of guessing. The good news is these risks are completely avoidable if you use it the right way. And right doesn't just mean a smaller spoon, it means timing, hydration, understanding your medications, and paying close attention to how your body responds. It means asking the right questions, not rushing toward results, and working with your body, not against it. I always tell my patients, just because something is natural doesn't mean it's automatically safe in any amount. Water is natural, but drink too much too fast and it can still harm you. Baking soda can support real healing, but only when it's used with care, with respect, and ideally under guidance. Now, if you're still with me, I know you're not looking for a shortcut. You're looking for something that works, something that helps you feel like yourself again without putting your health at risk. So let me show you how to do this the right way, because in the next moment, I'll walk you through the exact method I use with my own patients, the safe timing, the right dosage, and one key trick that makes all the difference. Number 5, how to use it safely. When I talk about baking soda with my patients, their first question is almost always the same. Okay, doc, but how do I actually use it? And it's the right question to ask because, as we've seen, the difference between helping your body and harming it comes down to the how. For most generally healthy adults over 60, the safest place to start is with just a quarter teaspoon of baking soda stirred into a full glass of water taken on an empty stomach. Ideally, first thing in the morning, not after a meal, not before bed, and definitely not multiple times a day, just once. That may sound small, but trust me, when it comes to your internal balance, small is smart. I remember one of my patients, Ray, who was 74 and struggling with energy crashes in the afternoon and circulation issues that made even a short walk feel like a chore. We started with that simple protocol, a quarter teaspoon each morning, empty stomach, full glass of water, and within 3 weeks he told me, "I don't know what it is, doc, but I feel clearer, more steady, and my hands aren't freezing anymore." Now here's something most people don't think about. Hydration. Baking soda works best when your body's well hydrated. That means drinking water throughout the day, not just when you're thirsty. When your blood is well hydrated, circulation improves, oxygen travels easier, and your organs, including those responsible for intimacy, function better. So don't just focus on the baking soda itself. Think of it as part of a bigger shift in how you care for your body. If you're on medications, especially for high blood pressure, heart, or kidney issues, always talk to your doctor first. It's not about fear, it's about respect. Your body has been through decades of life. It deserves careful attention. You wouldn't drive a classic car without checking the engine first, right? Treat your health the same way. Most men don't need a miracle. They just need one small win to build hope. One positive change that tells them, you're not done. You're not broken. You're still in there. That's what this simple daily habit can be. The beginning of that change. If all of this is sounding promising, stay with me just a little longer, because in the final part, I'm going to share the story of a 76-year-old man who used this exact method and one tiny addition that took his results to an entirely new level. You'll want to hear what happened next. Conclusion. There's a man named Frank I still think about often. He was 76, widowed, quiet, the kind of man who didn't say much unless he had something important to share. He came to see me after hearing about baking soda through a mutual friend. He wasn't looking for a miracle. He just wanted to feel a little more like himself again. More alive, more connected, maybe even capable of opening his heart to someone new. We started him on the same routine I shared with you earlier. A small dose of baking soda in the morning, careful hydration, watching for signs from his body. But he added one more thing that made all the difference: consistency. He didn't just take the mixture once and forget about it. He respected the process. He gave his body time to respond. Within a few weeks, the changes weren't dramatic, but they were steady. More warmth in his hands, better sleep, more presence in conversation. Then one day, with a small smile, he said, "I didn't think I'd ever feel this kind of closeness again, but I do." What I've shared with you may sound simple, but don't underestimate its power. We've talked about how poor circulation silently affects millions of men over 60, how it steals energy, weakens intimacy, and makes you feel like your best years are behind you. We've explored how baking soda, when used the right way, can help restore balance to the body, support blood flow, and bring life back into places where things have felt numb or quiet for too long. And we've made it clear that this isn't about quick fixes. It's about giving your body the support it needs with care, patience, and respect. If you felt tired, disconnected, or even a little hopeless about what's been slipping away, I want you to know this: it's not too late. The capacity for healing is still in you. Your body hasn't given up. It's just been waiting for you to listen. So maybe this small change is your place to begin. One glass, one habit, one quiet decision to take your health, your energy, and your confidence seriously. Not someday, but today. Because you're not done yet. You still matter. And there's more life left to feel.